Early in my career, I interviewed for a GM's position at an exclusive private golf club that I was convinced that I would get. I'd graduated with a diploma in hotel administration and had been an internal auditor for a national hotel chain. I'd completed an additional year of accounting theory and I had managed multi-million dollar budgets. Although I typically relied on my controller to handle the accounting details, I knew how to read financial statements, and I'd served on countless finance committees. I practiced the standard interview questions committee typically asks at a senior management interview. I thoroughly researched the club, rehearsed my stories in front of a mirror. I was ready for this, and I was prepared to nail the interview with confidence. The interview went well until an accountant on the hiring committee popped an unexpected question that stopped me cold. If the club generates more cash than it uses during a particular fiscal period, which specific account on the financial statement absorbs that surplus, and how would you detect it? I was taken aback. Fundamental accounting questions weren't on my list of practice questions. I practiced the expected questions and was ready to answer things like, how will you satisfy membership special interests? What can you do to control food costs? How will we increase our membership? How do you manage club events? And what can we do to increase our membership? Based on my research, I was even prepared for what can we do if the club is experiencing a loss and the members don't want us to increase dues to cover the cost of operations. This question, on the other hand, was unexpected, and I felt like I was being put on the spot. It was like they're testing my knowledge of accounting. I wondered why, thinking to myself, did the previous manager have some issue with accounting? Of course, I knew the answer to their question, but I overthought the wording as I stick handled my response. I hesitated and stumbled, not sure if this was some kind of trick question. That moment of uncertainty changed the tone of the interview, and a position that I was fully qualified to do slipped through my fingers. The lesson? Sometimes it isn't what you know that determines the outcome. It's whether you can demonstrate what you know effectively when it matters most. And today I want to talk about what preparation that actually works looks like and why it may be different from what you're doing. Most people think that preparing for an interview means scripting answers. They write out what they'll say to tell me about yourself and where's what's your greatest weakness? And then, like me, they practice those answers until they can deliver them without stumbling. That's not preparation. That's memorization. And the difference matters enormously. Real preparation is about clarity, not script. It means knowing your story well enough that you can tell any version of it accurately and naturally, no matter what question gets asked. It means understanding the role and the company deeply enough to connect your experience to their actual needs. And it means being ready for a real conversation, not a performance. Here's something worth knowing. Interviewers aren't just evaluating your answers. They're evaluating how you think, whether you can engage genuinely, whether you're the kind of person they'd want to work with for 40 hours a week. Scripted answers work against all of that. They make you sound rehearsed. They pull you out of a conversation and into a performance. And interviewers, especially experienced ones, can tell the difference immediately. A candidate who pauses, thinks, and gives real answers is almost always more compelling than someone delivering a polished response that they had clearly practiced 50 times. Preparation isn't about eliminating uncertainty. It's about building enough clarity and confidence in yourself and the role that you're seeking that you can handle whatever comes up. The trap is preparing for a specific conversation instead of preparing for yourself. When you script answers, you're betting that the interview will follow a predictable path, but it rarely does. And when it goes somewhere unexpected, you're stuck, either forcing a prepared answer into a question it doesn't fit, or you're left scrambling because you were not ready for that question and you have to nervously make up some answer on the fly. The other trap is research without reflection. Knowing about a company is useful, but only if you connected that company knowledge to your experience and to what you are actually bringing to the table. Facts about the organization disconnected from your own story don't help you in the interview where they're trying to see if you're a good fit. Real preparation is inside out, not outside in. It starts with knowing yourself clearly, your experience, your values, your best examples, and then connecting all that to what you've learned about the role, the company, and sometimes the people who will be serving on the hiring committee. Here's three things that can help change how prepared you actually feel as you sit down for an interview. First, build your story bank, not your script. Instead of writing full answers, write a list of 8 to 10 strong examples from your career, moments when you solved a problem, led something, failed and recovered, made a decision under pressure. Then know those stories cold. Any interview question can be answered well if you have the right example to draw on. They want to know what you will do, not what you've done. So make those stories relate to their position. Second, do a role connection exercise. For each key responsibility in the job description, write one or two sentences connecting your experience to that specific need. Not a rehearsed answer, just a clear connection. This turns your research in the story bank into something you can actually use in the conversation. And third, remember that you are also interviewing them. Prepare your questions for them as carefully as you prepare your answers to what you think they will ask you. The questions you ask in an interview tell the interview as much about you as anything else. Thoughtful questions signal genuine interest, clear thinking, and professional maturity. Most candidates treat this as an afterthought. Don't. The goal of all of this is to walk into the interview clear-headed, not scripted, clear about who you are, what you've done, and why this role is a genuine fit for both you and for them. The best interview preparation doesn't feel like preparation. It feels like being genuinely ready, which is different. It's a difference between hoping the right question gets asked and knowing you can handle any question, no matter what comes up. Our blog series this week tackles this sort of issue. This week's deep dive post on Tuesday goes into the full framework, how to build your story bank, how to do your role connection exercise, and how to prepare questions that actually work. On Wednesday, at our community meeting on Zoom at 7, we'll dig into this topic a little deeper. Our meetings are free. Everyone's welcome. We'd love to hear your stories and answer your questions. On Thursday, the series continues with a practical exercise that walks you through a 1 hour prep session that you can do before any interview. And then on Saturday, the reflection piece is a post about the anxiety underneath interview prep. And then what that's actually telling you. You most likely have a lot more to offer than you're currently showing in interviews. And getting better just means being better prepared. The right preparation is what closes the gap. Remember, you don't have to do this alone. We know what it's like because we've been there before and we're here to help. We're looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time and hope you can join us.